When it comes to Xbox, one of the things that I've enjoyed most about it, especially early on after the Xbox One issues, were the fact that they were very transparent and very kind of upfront about what they were doing. And some people think that maybe I've kind of flip flopped or switched it up. You know, I enjoy PlayStation 5, I enjoy Xbox Series, I have them both. And, you know, the main thing for me is I feel like I hated when Microsoft went and made PC Xbox and Xbox PC. Like, that didn't make sense to me because I feel like even going back to Seamus Blackley, and I've interviewed that man myself, it's just so odd to me where he was like, you definitely need stuff that's only on your console, that that plays for consoles. When sometimes when you're trying to make something that's going to appeal to both platforms, and they're very different platforms, you don't get the best that what you can get. And I think that Gears of War is a fine example of a situation where a game that really kind of suffered when it went to PC. As far as Xbox, it just seemed like it was no longer that amazing, exclusive experience. Phil Spencer, however, is going around and doing some very interesting interviews and talking up some very interesting things. And I thought that this was a very cool thing to do because he was actually talking about how transparent Xbox executives are and how this is how they will continue to be, and actually made some pretty interesting announcements. So I thought that this was a fun thing to kind of talk about and kind of a fun thing to do a video on, and I think you guys will probably enjoy it. Again, this isn't a knock on PlayStation. I think PlayStation is actually hitting it out of the park lately, to be honest with you. I think that they honestly are just out there completely dominating, and it's so weird because Microsoft seemed to have so much momentum, and I think that that's something that a lot of people were agreeing with going into this year, ending the year the way that they did, and now it seems like they're just kind of back to realistically not having a lot going for themselves right now, and people are kind of noticing this. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this sort of to see how this kind of works out. But I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with the video. There's a lot of information to kind of get through, so I kind of want to get into it as soon as possible. Hey there everyone, I'm Crap Gamer, and of course this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice some changes around here, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like. That's how this channel grows, that's how videos get to be seen. I put a lot of hard work into the videos, so if you guys would be so kind as to just like them, that's all I can ask for, and would be so appreciative of that. So thank you guys very, very much. With that being said, the fact that you take time out of your busy schedule is just so amazing to me. Thank you guys very much. Let's continue to rock out together, and I look forward to many more videos in the future. So thank you guys very much. Now, Phil Spencer was recently talking. He did an interview. I love when he does these interviews, and he was talking about something that's very near and dear to me, just the transparency that Xbox has with its fan base and how it's a different approach. Xbox is in fairly open conversation with its community, and one of the reasons that I bring this up is, like I said, even though I didn't like the PC side of things, at least they were saying, giving us sort of an idea that going forward, this was going to be the norm. Basically, everything that comes out on Xbox is going to come out on PC, and it's one of the things that sort of bugs me about PlayStation is they're just kind of wishy-washy about it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna dabble with some PC stuff, but they're not really giving you a much to go on in terms of just how long, what games, right? It's just like, and it's kind of disappointing, but I still think that both platforms should have exclusives that aren't on PC, but that's just me. Not only are core social media accounts like Xbox Game Pass often active and ready for a quick punt or two, a lot of executive teams at Xbox are very open and approachable online. Xbox boss Phil Spencer said the approach is part of the culture at Xbox, where much of the team are much more active Xbox users, and they themselves want things to change and improve. He says that the transparency Xbox has with fans is key. He says, and I quote, "It's definitely part of our culture here. I think we have to balance it because so many of us are fans and active users of our own product and have our own point of view on what should get done and what our next feature should be, or when we're missing things. It's important that it doesn't just become a product for us, that it's a product for the people who are actually out there buying the games, buying the platform, using the services. For me, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really enjoy, even on hard times, I really enjoy the kind of transparency we have with the community. The comments come as part of a quick chat that Phil had on a podcast recently where the Xbox boss also talked about his most anticipated first-party games, which is something that I already talked about, and how Xbox is striving to build things in years to come, which is basically a big AAA every quarter. We also really had to dig into the way that they're open with the fans. As Phil says on the podcast, they don't always get things right, but executives are often open to break down barriers and talk about things with the fans, which is always a good thing. And while I get it that, that doesn't make, games magically appear or whatever, it's still a nice thing to see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was it looks like we've got an idea of what to expect from Microsoft in terms of when they're going to be doing like their E3 and their events and stuff like that. That's something that a lot of people are thinking that Microsoft can definitely do better with, and that's a point where I agree. Like, let's get some games out there. Let's get some talk about this stuff. I think that's very important, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So, according to this, on March 16th, obviously fans can look forward to a new Xbox game showcase, which will feature update trailers and gameplay footage for several indie games that are currently in development, and that's something to look forward to as well. Maybe not the big showing that a lot of people are looking forward to, but Noted Insider actually recently posted on the forums that Microsoft is planning to hold big events in May and September. As with any leak, fans should take it with a grain of salt until we get official words. The current plan, from what he was told, apparently, is one show for May and one for September. So, he didn't get any more detail than that. He says, before you ask, he also found out that they said May, when June is right there as the normal E3 spot. As they point out, it seems hard to believe that Xbox would be planning a big event 1 month before E3 is set to begin. While the company has made no announcements regarding E3 at this time, Xbox has continued to support the industry show, even after some companies have pulled out or shifted attention elsewhere. It's possible Xbox could be moving away from E3, or this May event may be a smaller one before the big show. Xbox has a number of major games slated for release this year, including Redfall and Starfield. Now, Redfall does not currently have a confirmed release date, but Starfield isn't set to release until November, and fans will likely be waiting a bit longer to hear about the latter. And it seems like we could really see some more information at E3, or during an event in May. For now, Xbox fans will have to keep waiting, but Jeff Grubb kind of chimed in on this, and he says that Xbox is rumored to be holding an E3-style event showcase in June. If E3 does return indeed in 2022, it'll most likely be a virtual event, as was last year. The event was canceled altogether in 2020. Over the last couple of years, the first-party console manufacturers have been trying to fill the void with their own showcase events. Nintendo and Nintendo's Direct events, Sony with PlayStation Showcase and PlayStation State of Play, and Microsoft with Inside Xbox and Xbox Game Showcases. Other Xbox-related events have been held during the time to keep fans abreast of all the biggest Xbox news and game reveals, such as ID at Xbox Showcase slated for this week, highlighting the most existing things going on in the indie scene. But it appears that the folks at Xbox may be planning an A3-style event for June. At least that's the speculation that's been promoted by Games Radar and other outlets now. The rumor comes via industry insider journalist Jeff Grubb, who said in a live stream video on his YouTube channel back in March 11th, in part, they're talking to partners to get big games in there. That's what's going on right now in March. So it's not like they can change the train or turn that big ship around. They're heading in that direction, and they're going to be doing something in that time frame. He also suggested that Xbox may be planning smaller events in May or September, like I said. So who knows really what's going to be happening long term, but it does sound like a lot of fans have something to look forward to regardless. This is good news if you're an Xbox fan, because it seems like they're listening and being proactive about this, and that really comes at a most critical time, and we're going to continue to see a lot of movement from them, fixing and kind of getting things out there. We all want to see these games. We all want to see this stuff made. So with that being said, take a minute to like the video if you're here. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap gamer out.